Shalom, family. Shalom to all of you. Shalom out there. Shalom out there. Let's hope people are coming in. If we got anybody out there, hope you're not in the rain. Shalom to you. Let's see what we got. Sorry, it's a little bit late. Hope you can hear me. Right. Must be other things that people are busy doing. Just thought we'd come out and do a little get together. So anyone who's there, shalom to all of you. What's happening out there, family? Shalom to you, shalom to you. I know it's been a while since since we've seen each other. But yeah, shalom to all the family out there. How are you? Hope your day's been dry and warm and productive. Shalom to all of you family out there. Shalom to all of you. I hope I'm coming across loud, clear, and the visuals are alright too. So yeah, just let me know if there's any problems with the technicalities, audio, visuals, and stuff like that. So shalom to all of you. Shalom. I wish I had some intro music, something healthy and not off. So forgive me if it's a little bit boring in the time that we're just gonna see how we have each other online. Right. This evening I just wanted to, throw a question out there to all family who might just have time to to join in. Actually, hoping to encourage an open dialogue with anyone who might be interested in coming on to just chat basically about this new world order, new age movement to redefine what is speech, conscience and thought process, and even redefine what is human freedom and human rights and all the stuff that goes with that. And basically, putting it more generally, we want to just deal with what is hate speech, what is free speech, what is speech at all. I mean, where do we stand nowadays? Nobody knows what they can or cannot say, be it in a public place, on a moving bus, an aeroplane, even in their own private house, private car. People are scared to say stuff right now. In their jobs, in your football teams, in your music, in arts and stuff like that. So yeah, I know it's a old peddled subject already. All of you already know about it, but it just makes it more interesting because at least you've had time to warm yourselves up and think about it a little bit, and think about all the applications of applications or misapplications of this whole thing called free speech and hate speech. So yeah, I was like hoping that we can get people to come on board and come and give us their own mindset about what they think speech is, what they think free speech is, and what they think hate speech is. Now, in public now, we're seeing gradually, increasingly, we're seeing a whole lot of public figures, even some eminent ones, being banned from social media platforms, YouTube being one of them, Twitter and the likes of them, basically Facebook. People scared, people going in Facebook prison, or what I think that's what it's called, Facebook prison, YouTube prison, and so on and so forth. What are the implications of all these anyway? Our rights still inalienable as they should be under our creator? Or for those of you who believe that you are basically just a product of evolution, where will your rights come from? Who's going to determine if your rights are immutable, inalienable, and non-debatable. Basically, your rights to have free speech and speak your mind and have your own conscience to speak about and not be hindered by that. Because whilst there is a whole lot of physical abuse that can be pointed to in the public arena, um, in terms of like how we might get treated by the authorities sometimes, a lot of people are not considering that this same issue can be applied psychologically, where people are not being allowed to speak their minds based on any factor, be it race, be it religion, be it just their own, ethnic thoughts or national thoughts or safety issues. People are being told to concede those rights for things that are at best very, very vague and ambiguous. And it raises the question, when such pseudo laws, pseudo rules are being put into place, contradictory rules and laws, if you like, who's going to be the policeman in all of that? Who's actually going to be the policeman? Who's going to come to the fore? Who are we appointing to limit or curtail or control or be a referee over what is speech, over what is free speech, over what is hate speech? So there's quite a lot of issues that I haven't even prepared my mind in terms of like writing out a script to talk about this stuff. It's just like us just trying to freestyle as layman as possible. Everyone bringing their ideas in there. I don't like to script such stuff because it basically puts people in a box of what I'm trying to make them talk about. So on many levels, this is not just purely what you would call academic chat. This is just like a general man out there chat. Like, what do we see? What's the meaning of all of this? What's the meaning of all of this? What's the meaning of this for the established religions on the earth? What's the meaning of this for the established religions on the earth? Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, and so on and so forth. What is this? What does this mean for national and ethnic points of view that people have? I mean, for example, how much can, say, people who've been victims of racism or genocides, or victims of pedophilia and stuff, how much can they talk out? How much can they say? How much fingers can they point at anyone? How much of a retrospective criticism can they actually table? How much of cries can they cry out there? How much of anything can they do? How much of any kind of mumbling can they mumble in this day and age? It seems like we are gradually moving to a point where the only time you're going to be able to think is when you've got your head in a bucket or something and nobody else can hear you. Or maybe when you got one of them designer headphones on, so nobody can really gonna hear your thoughts. It's just gonna be you and your thoughts, and ain't nobody supposed to share in it. So I want to know what your views are, family. I'm actually hoping. I know I've invited nobody on, but anyone who wants to come on and just give their views, this would be the platform. If nobody's trying to come on, I tell you what, I'm not gonna be speaking by myself all day today. I definitely won't. I'm looking for some interaction. I'm looking for some people who wanna join this. Otherwise, if none of you wanna come on and speak, I'm gonna just take it that you've given up your rights to speak, basically. And I don't think that's what the situation is right now. So yeah, if there's any eminent people out there, please come in. If there's any so-called non-eminent people out there, please come in. I'm inviting everybody on. I'm going to be sharing the link somehow. So, hey, shalom to all of you once more. So, yeah, what is hate speech? What is free speech? And generally speaking, what's trending? What's trending? Speaker's Corner. A lot of you probably landed on this platform here and similar platforms like this, basically from being accustomed to the chats and the relationships that go on down in London, UK, in the Speaker's Corner arena down in Hyde Park Corner. So it's been a great place for freedom of speech, for freedom of conscience, for social issues to be spoken of, and eminent people even to come down since the inception of those places in the, I think the 1900s, since that place was incepted, and people started to come down there to do all sorts of social movements. We still are very fortunate in this society right now, in the society of the United Kingdom, to still have a place like that that allows people to come out and just be able to speak their minds. And for me, it's always been an issue where I've always thought like the humankind is really dead when the humankind can't speak anymore. It is refreshing to still have a place like Speaker's Corner in the UK, and in many ways, especially Speaker's Corner in London, because London is such a iconic example of say like a melting pot of different nationalities, ethnicities, religions, views, and so on and so forth. So it makes it the perfect arena for all these views, be they conflicting or harmonious, to come together and to talk amongst themselves. Because I wouldn't really know why, not like we don't know why, but why else would a country, a people like the English, British, say, invite everybody to come into the country and be what they call multicultural society, but still not be able to speak their minds, knowing well in advance that all these people have different mindsets. They have different thoughts, they have different backgrounds, they have different cultures, they have different religions, they have differences along lines of sexuality, of morality, of value systems, and so on and so forth. Why then would the system think that people would not come at some point and clash, called a clash of civilizations, where people are going to come in and start to voice out things that they perceive to be right in their own views when it suits them, and wrong in their same own views when it don't suit them? Why does the system pretend like it didn't foresee that? Or was it all a game all along to cause this kind of reaction in the first place, so that they can use it to shut us down? So it's called problem, reaction, solution. Right? That's the oldest system on the face of the earth. You want to curtail the whole human people, you got to introduce some kind of problem, and then introduce some kind of reaction. A reaction now asks and demands a solution. So that solution is now coming, rearing its ugly head, and I don't think is the solution that humans are actually really asking for. Or is it? So I want to hear your views. I want to know what you think. I don't know if there's anyone online who wants to come on and talk about these issues. Otherwise, Brother Ty is just going to be talking about it to himself. So what do you say, family? Anyone out there? I don't know where the link is. I can't even remember how to share the link anymore. I'm trying to remember how to share the link for anyone who wants to come on this thing. So what should I do? I forgot how I actually do this thing. What I normally do is open up the Google Hangout and I get people to come on the Google Hangout. So yeah, that might be just how I might be able to proceed with this, provided we have anyone who wants to come on in the first place. So if you're out there, you want to come on this thing, let me know. Yeah, I'm gonna do create a group hangout. How'd you go with this one again? No, that's not it. Let's start this again. So family, just give me a second. And shalom to all of you who are out there. Shalom to all you family, because we haven't been online for quite a while right now, and we're just trying to get back on since the 3.5 month YouTube prison ban, and this has made a whole lot of stuff so rusty, and I'm just trying to get back out there again. And I don't know how I'm gonna. Let me see if I can get this sorted. I don't know what. Let's see. Yeah. So let me try and see what the comments are right now. See who is in there, who is not in there. Yeah. So family. Wow. Got quite a few people up there right now. So yeah, we're trying to figure out what this hate speech, free speech, and any type of speech actually is right now. So I'm inviting your opinions, your thoughts, your perspectives on this issue, because it's better you face them now than later. Me myself, I can foresee where it's all gonna end up. I don't know if you have. If you haven't, if you think there's still time and space to change the direction that we're moving in, because it's going to get really gruesome. It's going to get really gruesome really quickly. The less we show interest in taking part in maybe redefining the boundaries and taking the power back from the system. The system is like a self-run system, not probably run by computers mostly right now. The sooner we can start taking that power back from the computers and become human, the better for humanity. I know there's a whole lot of people, groups out there who feel secure and happy about this misuse of these free speech powers or hate speech powers. It might work in their favor right now, but ultimately, I tell you what, they be the ones crying the loudest, crying the longest, when the full shit hits the fan. So, I want to hear all views anyway. I don't want to really prefer any views, even though I've got mine, and I have a right to prefer those views. And we don't do it disrespectfully or to antagonize anyone or to provoke anyone. Our views are pretty human. Our views are pretty moderate. Our views are pretty moralistic and moral. And our views are, in many ways, they are just human views. They're the struggling masses views. They're the sheep views. They're the views of the people who are being downpressed gradually and incrementally all day long, and wake up with one more right taken away from their humanity. So I want all of you to come in on this thing and just tell me how you see the situation. Brother Kazan, are you actually live, or I can't even tell? I'm sorry, family. It's been a long time. I haven't done this for so long. I really don't know what to do anymore. And I know Google's just updated a whole lot of things on the Gmail Google Hangout platform. So I really don't know. Just got off and Brother Kazan says he's trying to enjoy his birthday. All right. So Brother Kazan's just been born again today. So yeah, shalom to you, Brother Kazan. You're born again now, right? So how young are you today? Let us know. Right. So with that said, let me see where we are right now. Do forgive me, family. Um, I don't know if we're in a position now where we can speak to anyone. If there's anyone out there who wants to come on, if you're out there and you want to come on the chat, just type in the number 7. Just type in the number 7 wherever you are on the chat right now. And I'm just going to see if there's anyone who wants to come in. Then I'll just see how to set this thing up. I might even take advice from anyone who still remembers how to set up this thing on Google Chat. I'm going to be using Google Chat because I'm using a different system to do the live stream, so I won't be able to use YouTube per se. So give me a 7 if you want to speak, if you want to come on the chat to speak about these issues. Let me know. All right, family. So with that said, and with that in the back of your mind, I just wanted to be able to come out and say hi to all the families out there, and say, I know it's been a while since I've been down in a speaker's corner, or even out there speaking in public in any shape or form. So I just wanted to say shalom to all of you, let you know we're all right. Just busy trying to do things and so on and so forth, and hope you're all right as well. There's a whole lot of issues. Things are moving really fast. Africa is a huge issue on the minds of a whole lot of diverse people right now, and it should be on our minds as well. It should be on everybody's minds. There's a whole lot of stuff going on. The less time we have to speak about them means the less time we have to prepare about things that will definitely affect us in the very near future. So I think like people are inventing a whole lot of stuff to talk about because they just don't want to face reality. And I believe that anytime we come to talk on any shows, we really should start like focusing more on the utmost issues, rather than kind of like beating around the bush with issues that really get us nowhere. Issues that are not going to produce any action, me against you type of issues. Why can't we just like, find issues that move us forward? Like I hear so much talk about, for example, I hear so much talk, and I want you family out there, I want you to like really put tabs on this next thing. I know it's not part of our title this evening, but it actually is, because it's called what is hate speech? What is free speech? What is trending? What's trending? What's trending, family? Yeah, what's trending? Let's talk. Yeah, I've been out of the loop for some time. Not entirely, but not so proactively. So yeah, what's trending? So my basic thing is, the more I look out there, in terms of the bigger picture, because the bigger picture right now is nations trying to look after themselves. We hear about this globalization situation, international movements of people, services, goods, and ideologies. And everybody's, running helter skelter right now, trying to secure themselves, secure their families, secure their jobs, secure their source of income, their daily bread, and so on and so forth. And if you like it or not, people are doing that on a group level, a religious level, ideology level, a football team level, a community level, and so on and so forth. And at the moment, we, as a black people, even in the diaspora right now, we've been given like sound bites that actually mean nothing. So like in the UK here, probably in many other places in Europe and maybe in America, you keep hearing about the black community and the black people. black community. And I'm like, really? Come on, family. Maybe Brother Ty is a bit short-sighted today, but is there really anything called the black community? Help me out. Is there anything called the black community in, say, the UK where I am? Is there anything called the black community? I like in the in the United States. What do they have in the United States anyway? Is it also called the black community, or is it called the black communities, African American communities, and so on and so forth? In the UK, it's called the black communities, and according to the black communities, we have black culture, and black culture is supposed to give us some kind of identity to identify with the black community. Now, in all truth, in all honesty, I don't see either as being evidence. I don't see any black community, and I don't see any black culture. Yes, I see a whole lot of name calling and name labeling. I see a whole lot of that, but I don't really see any black community, and I don't see any black culture. More times than not, when there is a mention of black community, it basically means the ghetto. And most times when there is a mention of black culture, it basically means the ghetto where we practice pulling each other down by any means necessary, i.e. knife crime, gun crime, and and just the general hatred that we have for each other. So yeah, those are open to discussion at the moment before we build on them. So I'm actually looking for people who can come on and spice this thing up, because me myself, you know how I am. I'll probably just be giving my views, which will sound like a preaching, a teaching, or a lecture or something. I'm not really into that, because it don't take one person to fix problems like this. Anytime one man is speaking, and he's supposedly speaking for more than one person, then he better make sure that that other person also has an input in it. Otherwise, you're just gonna be like a Boeing 747, where nobody really sees the pilot. And in this case, I'm hoping that we can all share in the direction, because it's no point carrying people along going nowhere if they don't actually want to go there. So this thing with the black leaders of the black community, black leaders of the black culture, it's a mess when the black community, quote and unquote, themselves won't even get involved in the movement. They're not interested. That's why there really is no community. So I want somebody who's black. Also, I want somebody who is white. I want them from different communities. In the early days, living up in London, you used to have the Irish community, yeah, and the Irish community used to really dwell together with the black community, but the Irish community soon moved out. And I remember well the Irish community, they to me they had a real community, because they had meeting halls. They had all these organizations that kept them together. Whatever it was that they used to do. There's a whole lot of family stuff involved, and it was like on a weekly basis, and everybody kind of knew everybody. Everybody called everybody Paddy, and everybody knew everybody. So they had their own thing, like a real community. And in fact, they also had means. They had they owned properties, they owned businesses, and so on and so forth. So they made UK, or let me say, they made England. From my perspective, they made England very interesting, because they added one more element to it, which was the Irish element. Regardless of what your personal experience was. So the black community also is my main objective here, but not the only objective, not the only focus here. The other focus is the white communities, the Asian communities, the all the different ethnic communities, the Jewish communities, and so on and so forth. And guess what? We're not talking about religion right now. We're just talking of peoples, right? Because this all ties in with where we're going at the moment, which is like, a focus on what is hate speech, what is free speech, what's trending, if you like. So we're looking at the communities, and we're looking at maybe, some of the experiences of the past that they've had, meted out to them, or just been their struggles, and so on and so forth. Because what we find right now in a place like the United Kingdom, just to narrow it down at this point, is that it's a multitude of cultures, if you like, of peoples, if you like, of ideas and their backgrounds. And at the moment, we've gotten to a stage where the governments have realized that we're not mixing really with each other. We're not becoming one, besides by name, which is, British culture, British community, British kingdom, or whatever, But inside, you still have the splinter groups: the black community, the Irish community, the Scottish community, the Chinese community, Asian community, Pakistani community, Sikh community, Jewish community, and so on and so forth. And even now, you have the lesbian and gay and bisexual, transgender community, and so on and so forth. So communities are springing up every single minute. And in fact, you have the pedophile community. To be honest, I mean, I know some people are thinking it, but nobody's saying it. But they have their own community too. So let's put the whole thing in the mix. And let's come out and let's talk. Why are we doing this? Because we get into a point where all these communities are the reasons for the problem. If anyone who's ever listened to me properly, I always say the solution to the problem is let everybody go back to their own home country. Let everybody go back to their own home country. Then there'll be no more problems in terms of, those people over there, they're not trying to mix in with us. And because they're not trying to mix in with us, we having problems. We always told you this multiculturalism is going to end in tears for everybody. Well, they're right. It's nothing, it shouldn't have been a far-fetched scientific mystery in the first place. It should have been really easy to see that, because the value system that everybody holds is just too diverse, too different, too contradictory one to another. In fact, it's not only contradictory, it's also like hypocrisy. It's hypocrisy. Nobody wants to say what they see is never going to be right for them. But they want to get along with it until it starts becoming a problem for them. Then now they're going to call it out. And now that they're calling it out, only one voice is being heard when it comes to making the rules of who calls out what is so-called acceptable speech and unacceptable speech. At the moment, who's going to blame them? The white British establishment holds ground in telling all the other communities what they can and cannot do and cannot think and cannot, so on and so forth. I bet you if we had a 10-1 in favor of the black race in Parliament, we would pass hate laws that would favor us. We would pass free speech laws that would favor us. If this so-called happens to the Pakistani, that they became a majority in Parliament, they'll pass the same laws that would look after their corner first. If it happens to the Chinese or to the Jewish, some people will say the Jewish already have that upper hand, and that's left open to debate and discussion. Look, if it falls to dogs to make law in Parliament, dogs will always favor dogs. If it falls to the cats to make law, cats will always favor cats. And I tell you what, there's no way cats are making laws to favor dogs. So at this point in time, it's very, very poignant for us to understand that as any kind of minority community, we will have no power to have a say in what's acceptable speech, what's acceptable thought, what's acceptable practice. That means we are basically looking at annihilation. We are looking at annihilation right now, family. Annihilation of all the minorities in this system, in this white Western world system. I call it the WWW. You call it the worldwide system. The world what's that WWW? I can't even remember anyway. But I call it the white Western world. The white Western world system is gonna regulate what hate speech is, what free speech is, and so on and so forth. And this takes me down memory lane. It takes me down memory lane because in the, I think, late 80s, coming into the 90s, there was always this talk about, globalization and global warming and what's it called now? And the industrialization of third world countries and so on and so forth. And because the Western world had already reached a peak in terms of their development, industrial capabilities and scientific breakthroughs and so on and so weapons and so on and so forth, it was easy for them to now try to tell everybody else on the face of the earth to curtail their use of natural resources, carbon footprint and all of that. So they started now telling third world countries that third world countries should start thinking of having less babies, start using less resources, stop using wood for cooking, stop using firewood for cooking, think of sustainable energy replacements, and so on and so forth. And I'm like, hold on, you guys have had a serious opportunity to put your house in order based on all the things that are wrong on the earth in terms of how you've wasted resources, how you've made technological equipment and stuff that are now seriously disharmonious to the earth, poisoning of the water, poisoning of the air, poisoning of the foods, poisoning of everything, the misuse of the wealth and the resources that belong to all the people on the earth. You've misused all of that. You've abused people. Human rights, everything's, it's a mess. Now, the people who are in these third world developing countries, they are not the ones responsible for creating this madness, this mayhem on the earth. But they're the ones who are now supposed to stop looking after themselves in favor of you who already have everything. So that was a serious line of hypocrisy that the Western world was going down. I don't know if any of you catch on to what I'm trying to explain here. All right. So you finish creating computers and mobile phones and all, cars, electronics, sending rockets to space, wasting billions of dollars going to space when there's enough space on the earth for everybody to survive and eat and drink clean food and water and air. You've messed all of that up just to produce all the things that we don't really need, called waste. Then 30, 40, 50, 60 years later, some of your proponents are now saying, yeah, let's curtail that, but let's start in the third world countries let's limit the third world country the capabilities to become fully industrialized, so that their huge populations will not harm the planet, will not harm the earth. So there was a serious drive to almost impose on the rest of the world, and on the rest of the black and brown world especially, the Chinese way of reproduction. You know, a one man, a one child family. They almost want to bring that on us. So they introduce HIV/AIDS and the drive of the HIV/AIDS narrative, and blame it on Africans. Africans started HIV/AIDS because we can't stop having sex. So stop having sex. Or if you're going to have sex, use our condoms. So that became a whole uproar. But the whole reason why they're doing that is for the same end. To make us not to be on the same par in terms of power, in terms of access, in terms of opportunity as the white Western world is. So they got away with that. But you know, the brown and black people of the earth just keep doing what they do, which is like reproduce life. That's according to the edict of the Most High Eye himself, who is eternal life. He says just go forth and reproduce, fill the face of the earth. Now, we haven't been absolutely righteous, but had we been righteous, we wouldn't have the problems we have now, where we're being dictated to what we can and cannot do. It was so bad. At one point, I remember they were clamping down on Nigerians who were eating bushmeat. I never, if any of you heard of what bushmeat is. Bushmeat. This is meat that you go hunting and you catch it and you kill it and you eat it. They started like clamping down on Nigerians, Africans, from eating bushmeat. I.e., you can't even hunt meat in your own bush anymore to eat. But the bushmeat can hunt you. The bushmeat can hunt you and eat you. Say you give them a chance, the bushmeat will hunt you and eat you. But we're not supposed to hunt bushmeat. We're not supposed to eat bushmeat. And then they said, yeah, our bushmeat is actually transferring diseases and so on and so forth. And it's poisoning. They came up with so many types of lies and tried to standardize our own way of existence, our own way of life. They try to bring it in line with the New World agenda, the New World Order agenda, whereby they tell us what to eat, they tell us how to reproduce, they tell us what kind of education we can have, they tell us what kind of society we should build, and now they're telling us what we can and cannot say. They're telling us what we can and cannot say. And guess where they're going to start again? Guess where they're going to start? They're going to start with the same black and brown people of the earth. If you see them shutting down white people, they can't start there. When I mean start, I mean the system would be over too quick. The whole idea is them trying to turn the tables against the people who've already been oppressed. That is the brown and black people of the earth. Every white brother and sister out there knows that. This ain't racist. This ain't racial talk, racist talk or hatred talk. This is just real talk. If you're out there and you're white or you're black or you're Chinese or you're Japanese or whatever, this is just real talk. It's in the interest of all of us to listen to what we're saying here. The whole real agenda of the New World Order, as we all know, is to get rid of up to 90% of the Earth's population, right? To get rid of up to 90% of the Earth's population, bring the Earth's population in line with the population of the natural wild animals out there. To bring it in line with the animals that we have in the bush, favoring the animals over the humans. But that wouldn't be a problem. That wouldn't really be too much of a problem, so to speak, if they didn't want to start with the brown and black people first. Because knowing the United Nations has all the power, and all the nations in the United Nations who have that power to make this come to pass, they're all white-skinned nations. They're all WWW nations. You got France, you got Germany, you got the UK. I mean, you got all these powers there. China. They got the power. They definitely won't be starting curbing world population. They won't be starting with themselves. Will they start with themselves? Come on, family. Will they start with themselves? Or would they rather start with people who they've already labeled useless to the natural order that they want? The new natural order that they want. Because they say, brown and black people are just reproducing over their means. I.e., they have no real wealth. They have no real use besides a couple of them. But they're reproducing like they're the boss. These nations are not happy that we can outbirth them by like 4-1, 7-1. And whose fault is it? Whose fault is it that the WW nations are not having children? Whose fault is it? They are a victim of their own success in many ways. When you push people to work like mad, give them office jobs and no life, and tell them even when they have children, when they have newborn children, they're still struggling to like how to survive, so that they gotta keep going back to work. How do you not expect them to focus on building a population? So the white peoples of the earth need to think again and say, if our governments are pretending to be blind about that situation, that we as a so-called race are now looking like we're dying out, it's like we're curating our own extinction, then the people of these nations, the sheep of these nations, need to start realizing this could actually well be a plan of their governments to get rid of them. That's one way to look at it. Never mind the frightening thought that these same governments would definitely want to get rid of all the brown and black peoples of the earth. They're well on their way for that. I can see the powers of the earth eyeing up Africa as a designated Negro land to say, look, we want to take it. I would even think that what we see going on in South Africa might not just be what it looks like. So here's my thing right here. What if what's going on in South Africa, I hope some of you already know what's going on in South Africa, with the black Africans saying it's time for the white South Africans to leave, and we want our land back, and we're going to take it by force. And violence has been ensuing for quite a few years, if not decades. Slowly, we saw Zimbabwe, farmers kicked out of Zimbabwe, white farmers kicked out of Zimbabwe, and the land being returned to their quote unquote rightful owners. It hasn't made the country any better, by the way. But we're seeing the trend picking up in South Africa again. Now we're seeing the helpless and hapless, displaced families of white people, white farmers, struggling to find their feet anywhere else. Actually begging to return to wherever that's going to take them. And we feel sorry and we feel the compassion for them at this moment. But we got to keep history in mind as well. We got to keep history in mind as well and say what caused all of that. How do we come to a point where suddenly it looks so glaring in your face that someone is just telling you to get up and leave everything you've worked for, as if there was nothing that started it off in the first place? But that's a debate for another day. That's a discussion for another time. We've done some of that already on the channel. What we're trying to look at right now is what could be the real agenda behind the powers that be asking the white farmers in South Africa, the Afrikaners, to now start packing their bags or look out to defend themselves by any means necessary. And many of them have come to arms, getting ready for what they term like a civil war between themselves and the blacks. So we all know that there's social constructs that brought about all this trouble. But I'm saying, what if it's actually just a game? What if it's just a game that the white powers will allow to happen, and the whites will leave South Africa, the whites will leave Zimbabwe, just because they're coming in for the Africans? The white powers are coming in for the Africans, and they're basically giving a signal to the whites in Africa to leave. Get up and leave. We're going to start a cleansing, or we're going to start a cleansing in Africa. We want to start a cleansing in Africa that you don't want to be around there when this stuff happens. If we ask you nicely, you'll never leave, because some of you white Africans, you've already developed a black mindset. You've developed a black mindset. You're really starting to love being in Africa. You're really starting to love these black Africans. But we don't want you there. We want you to get out of there. Just the same way, family, if I'm wrong, put me right again. Just the same way that before the Wakanda movie came out, you had the movie that came out in America called Get Out. And that movie was telling black people to get out of a white America. Am I right? That movie was telling black people to get out of America. And look, what fool would see that movie and think that movie is telling white people to get out of America? What fool would look at that movie and think that message is to white people? Surely it's not. That message is definitely, clearly to black people. And they made sure that the criminals, if you like, in the movie were white people. And the hypnotized victims in the movie were black people. And they were asking black people, wake up and get out. So, but you know, people tend to forget things. So we let that slide for now. But on the opposite side of the world, down in South Africa, it's not a movie in a blockbuster cinema kind of production. It's actually a real movie going on, whereby the whites that had come in on a unprecedented scale in the 1800s and established colonies, and some might say, yeah, they deserve to have what they have there because they've worked for it over this length of time. And if that's the case, then the black people in America should be able to say the same. But unfortunately, they're not being able to say the same, and they don't command such power in America. They don't command such power. They don't have farms. They don't have no serious infrastructural establishments down there that we could say, yeah, we part own the nation. A lot of people who don't understand much about the politics and the history of the world will go on and point to us and say, or even point to themselves, which is delusion, and say, well, if it wasn't for the white people down in South Africa or Zimbabwe, all these black people would just go hungry and they would just starve to death. Yeah, right. Even chicken don't starve to death. Chicken don't starve to death, and they don't farm. Fish don't starve to death, and they don't farm, and they don't got no offices, and they don't got no jobs. No. We don't need white farmers to survive. We only needed white farmers to survive in those countries because the system, the apartheid system that is ruling the earth, has misappropriated the resources to start a farm. They've made sure that the power to start farming is only given into the hands of the whites. All the diamonds that are mined in South Africa and Zimbabwe and the Congo, who has the power to distribute? Come on, family. What did King Leopold of Belgium do throughout the 1800s? Don't look at now. If you're a white person, don't look at now and think, oh, the blacks are lazy, they can't farm. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. If you ain't never been a farmer in Africa, then you think it's true. If you've been a farmer in Africa, then you know they're lying to you. It don't take nothing to farm. When you read the Bible, Joseph was a black man. And the Israelites were black people in Egypt. Egypt is now a very dry place. But even then, it's the black people who taught them how to survive a famine that was going to last 7 years. Black people have always farmed, from China to Japan, to Bangladesh, to Pakistan, to Turkmenistan, anywhere. Come on, family. If they've been lying to you that, the human race is billions of years old and millions of years old and hundreds of thousands of years old, and they told you and they tell you that the first humans were black people, how do you think they survived before white people came along to farm? You think they were waiting for white people, not just white people like in one white person, but they were waiting for a whole bunch of countries called white nations to come and teach them how to farm before they could eat? That's a lie. That's a lie. So if you're white out there and you're on an emotional trip thinking, yeah, well, if the white farmers leave and the European nations left us alone, we'll be fine. We'll have to organize ourselves, but we'll be fine. Yeah, we'll be fine. If we went hungry for a day or two, that would get us back in line, wouldn't it? But you'd have to leave us alone. You'd have to leave us alone. Right now, China is struggling producing food in its own countries. They're resorting to chemicals. They've destroyed all the topsoil. America is going down the same way. They're resorting to GMO foods. Poison the water. Poison everything. If that's the case, who's the best farmer? If that's the case, who's the best farmer? If you farm by the human energy, you could never misuse the land. But when you farm with all this technology, the speed of production, and the carelessness or the selfishness or the little thought that goes into like looking after the environment becomes like a non-starter for most nations who are industrialized. But go anywhere where they're farming by hand, they take care of the land. Yeah, they might get hit sometimes by natural disasters and setbacks. So don't deceive yourself that when the whites leave Africa, Africans are going to starve to death. No, we never have starved to death. We will never starve to death. Anytime you see us starving to death, it's just because we think it's time to do that. But we feed, Africa feeds the world. Africa is the breadbasket of the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire couldn't grow to what it is. The white nations that you see right now on the face of the earth could not grow to the levels they grew to had they not been eating out of Africa. Africa taught them farming. The cradle of civilization taught everything. It taught everything that there was to know. And that spread to the whole earth. So I'm saying, what if the game that's going on in South Africa is merely to get the white people to leave before the invasion of Africa by foreign armies proper? Because look, who knows? It's possible that Africa could become the next battleground between the superpowers. They're running out of resources. China, Russia are having their own ideas how to start the rerun of the world. Resources and precious metals are becoming an issue. Africa has got abundance of it and seems to have no use for it. Our governments, our leaders seem to have hatred for our resources, seem to have hatred for our natural resources, seem to have despicable hatred for human resources of Africa. It's deemed that by 2050, the African population will be like 1.5 billion or something. And Africa has the youngest demographics, human demographics right now. Up to like 60-70% of our populations are between the ages of 15 to 25 or 30. A serious army of people hungry to work, to change the direction, change the outcome of Africa if given a chance. I was down in Africa a couple of years ago, and you see the willingness for young people to just do something, just give us something to do. I'm like, boy, if these people don't get something to do soon, they're going to be killing each other. It's just clear. You see strong grappling boys with 8 packs. 8-pack chest and body like he was sculptured in a you know what I'm saying. But there's no it don't look, there's no hope. There's no hope on the horizon. So it's like a time bomb. Something's got to give. It's either you provide jobs or you provide weapons for this young generation of Africans. Both our boys, our girls, our brothers, our sisters. And the leaders just pretend that they can't see anything. That they can't see that disaster happening. The lands are beautiful to farm. There's a whole heap of natural resources there. Water, rivers, the sea, the abundant, serious solar energy, sunshine. It's just amazing. It's amazing. But when you look at the trends that's going on the earth today, it's clear that there's just too many arms of destruction that's like tentacling itself, i.e. directing itself into Africa to grab Africa, to grab it and tear it in pieces one more time. So, I mean, where does this fit into the hate speech, free speech? In many ways, because look, what I'm doing right now, to some people, it's already hate speech. What I'm saying right now, to some people, is already hate speech. Some people are going to call this racism. They're going to say, I hate white people. I hate white races. I'm talking about this, talking about that. If too many of us talk like this, it bothers them. It bothers, and it should bother people. Because when lions roar, tigers don't like it either. Giraffe don't like it either. So everybody has their own problems. Everybody has their own competition. We are the ones who don't think twice about the fact that our competition is trying to annihilate us. Our competition is trying to make sure that we don't breathe anymore. And this is where the freedom of speech and hate speech and so on and so forth comes into it. We are the people of the book. All the powerful religious movements on the earth, they're coming out of the book. Those who are not directly coming out of the book are people of the book. Now, the free speech and hate speech is going to be on us in a minute. It's going to be on us in a minute. A whole heap of our leaders in Africa, Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, they've been told what to do. We've been told that we must accept homosexuality as a human global freedom practice. We're being told that we must accept it. But many of our leaders, they beg to disagree. They say, sorry, we can't do that. But what's the whole reason? What's the whole agenda here? And they're pushing us to such an extent. They'll do anything to make our populations not grow or reduce. Or if it grows, let it be the wrong type. But these things are not natural to us. In Africa, people have free speech and they talk. People are not limited by some governmental edicts of what they can and cannot say. But everybody knows the limits to what's righteous to voice out in any given situation. And we're the ones who've taught the world how to behave in terms of what to say and what to not say. But we're going to start becoming the victim of hate speech and free speech. We're the people who believe the most in the things written in the Bible that the Quran is based upon. The righteousness, the morality, the people of Africa, the people of Black Asia, the people of South America. They're the ones who believe in those values that you find in the Bible. But as it's coming to the time when these people now need to rise, that's the time, that's the point that the New World Order is telling us you won't be allowed to speak to each other in a minute. You won't be allowed to discuss these issues in a minute. You won't be allowed to criticize in a minute. You won't be allowed to even complain in a minute. Because if you complain, it sounds like you hate us. It sounds like you hate somebody here. You've got a chip on your shoulder right there. So I'm asking people of the white race who identify as white by skin color, and white by mind to look at these things. Look at these things. Look at these things. We're heading down a slippery slope where once they take one of us out, they'll take all of us out. I'm pro-human. We're pro-human, just in case anybody asking. We just pro-truth, we pro-human, we pro-life. We pro-life. That's why we've always taught you that our Creator is life eternal Himself. You'll soon understand that. Soon you'll understand that, because it's going to be the one and only thing that everybody's going to be crying to have. Life. You won't even be asking to have God. No. You won't be crying to have God. You'll be crying to have life. That shows you who our Creator really is. It'd be like, what's wrong? Are you alright? Yeah, I just want life. I want life. Are you sure you don't want God? You don't want Allah? No, I want life. Life? What's that? So we're heading down this slippery slope here. Hate speech, free speech. What's our own values? What's the values that Africans have? What's the values that other nations have? What's the values that non-European people have? What kind of values do we want to preserve? Because the values we want to preserve is going to determine the type of speech that we're going to utter. If we can't speak, we can't keep our values. You can't keep your values if you can't speak. Unfortunately for us, the leaders of the world, they've already finished their own job. I.e., they've implemented their values, they've solidified them in place. Now they can tell everybody how to think or how to be, because that's not going to affect them. It's going to affect you, who's under their boots. You are the one who can't speak now. You're the ones who can't say the toilet stinks. You're the one who's going to say this room ain't big enough. I don't like the treatment I'm getting. It's going to be called hate speech. So that's the national perspective that I wanted to bring regarding hate speech and free speech. Where will Africans, where will black people, where will brown people, where will the oppressed people of the earth? I was watching a documentary and a movie and stuff like that, where Africans were already called terrorists just for standing up for their rights. In America, in Africa, in Asia, in Australia, in South America, in the Caribbean, anytime black people want to make a voice to be heard, be it Nelson Mandela, be it what's all the other names we can remember, be it any of them, they quickly label us terrorists. Terrorists. So if you're Muslim out there, this terrorism thing didn't start with Islam. It's been a long time thing. In fact, I'll take you back a little bit more. The word terrorism started with the Romans who tried to conquer Jerusalem. It started with them trying to destroy our civilization, our way of life, both in Judea, both in Rome, both in and in Egypt. All those words were used to describe black people. To describe, when we say black people, we're not talking just mainly Negroes. We're talking anyone who's just like coming out of the Negroid type, all the way up to Asia, Ethiopia, Yemen, the black people of the Middle East, the original Arabs of the Middle East. That's why I've said the last war will be against black people. The Quran confirms that. only just calls them Jews. Don't call them black people. But anybody who understands who the original Jews were then understands that Islam's last war is also going to be against black people, because we're the ones who are the real Jews. Look at the treatment the people of Sudan, called South Sudan, that they're going through. Look at the treatment they've been going through since the how early is this now? I could just go on for months and for years and years about since when all this started with them, because it's probably forever. But some people are going to remember how this has been there since the 1900s. How the people of South Sudan have been treated like slaves in their own country. Because they're Negroes, they're Jews, they're Israelites. And many of the people of the world that you see are of the stock of Israelites or Hebrews. Our disagreement with the New World Order made us into all kinds of things. Labeled us terrorists, and then labeled us every other name that you can find. Every degenerative description was attached to us. Everything evil was attached to us. Now, we haven't absolutely been innocent of our own moral standings, but we've been hard dealt by the other nations, by the Confederate nations, trying to make sure that we don't have a voice. And that's exactly where we're going to be soon, because these powers are looking how to eradicate undesirable elements from off the face of the earth. And when I say undesirable elements, according to them, that's the black and brown people of the earth. They've already achieved that in many countries around the world. And as we speak, anything black or brown is quickly being washed out as well, so that traces of that don't even remain. You could go to places like Australia, Papua New Guinea, East Timor, countries that I don't even remember their names right now. Everybody's trying to get whiter. Everybody's trying to get lighter. Everybody's trying to move away from being labeled black. So that last war is going to be against us. And at the moment, our population is just exploding. Our population is exploding. Naturally, our population is exploding. Our time looks like it's here. And we're not a violent people. We're not a hateful people. We're seriously loving people. And that's the problem. The only reason we're in this predicament is because we're a loving people against other humans. We're a loving people. Otherwise, there wouldn't be anybody to try to be fighting in the first place. If we had been a hateful people, the same way the other nations hate on us, there wouldn't have been anybody to fight right now, because we would have just gone for it. We would have just gone for it. But we're not of that type. And therein lies our problem again. We're the victims of our own niceness, if you like. But we're not going to change being nice. We're not going to change being righteous. We're not going to change being loving. But something's got to give. Something's got to give. Because I can see that right now, the inequality that exists between brown people and the WWW is just too much. The power, all the power is in their hands. All the power. And the funny thing is, the black brown people of the earth it don't seem to like, we don't think about it. We don't even talk about it. We still talk about our existence as if we have any form of control. Like we have 1% of control left. When the reality is, even the white nations, the sheep of the white nations, don't see any control left in their hands as the masses. They don't see any control left in their hands. But we black people still deceived or deluded that we Like we going to be able to do something for ourselves when there's no power to do it. All the markets are centralized in Europe, America. The money people are centralized in Europe and America. The commodities prices are set, centralized in Europe and America. World Health Organization set, centralized in Europe and America. And so on and so forth. All our leaders have been bought and paid for. All of them been educated and schooled. All our armies are the same. All our generals, all our captains, everybody's been bought out. Our education system ain't our own. Our fashion ain't our own. Black community, come up, talk to me. We keep saying our black community and black culture. There's no black community. There's no black culture. What is black culture? Somebody type in there for me if I'm missing anything. What is black culture? Proponents of black culture in a white Western world, tell me what black culture is, please. Any one of you who's deluded right now, tell me what black culture is. Write it in there for me. What is black culture in the white Western world? You have more Chinese culture than you have black culture. You have more Arab culture than you have black culture. You have more every other culture than you have black culture. So can somebody tell me, if you're a champion of black culture and Pan-Africanism in the white Western world, you see, Pan-Africanism wouldn't exist if we weren't in the diaspora. We don't need Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism just kind of dumbed us down a little bit more. If we really want to be Africans, somebody tell me what our solution is. We want to be African, we got to be in Africa. No point having an African culture inside Tesco's. Oh yeah. African culture inside Walmart. What kind of African culture is that? There's no African culture. There's no African community or black community. I know about Jewish community. I've seen some of the layouts. It's easy to see that. They have their own temple. They have their own schools. Have their own education centers. They have their own event centers, social centers, monetary centers, and so on and so forth. They have their own shops for their own foods and stuff like that. What suits them? And some of the, smaller cultures in terms of power and resources have all of that. But what's the African culture? What's the African community? There's none. We don't even have libraries of our own. Some of us have bookshops. Well, a bookshop ain't no culture. Where's our libraries? In fact, I'm not agitating for those things. It's just madness. It's madness. I'm even sorry. I've got to apologize because I misled you already for like 2 minutes. See? And that's how easy our brain is. I already joined you thinking, yeah, we should have something in somebody else's country. How are you supposed to have something in somebody else's country? Unless you've taken over their country. If you've taken over their country, you're going to treat their country like an outpost. Fine. But if you're just a stranger in their country, don't be standing there saying you have your culture in somebody else's culture. That's a disease. That's delusion. So somebody tell me what African culture is, or stop talking about, because I'm looking down in the speaker's corner. I'm seeing all the wasted breath. African culture, African people, black community. What black community? They even are appointing some people spokesperson for black community down in Speaker's Corner. I'm like, the delusion has become complete now. It was complete before anyway, but we've opened a new chapter because the completion of that delusion was was insufficient. We needed to open up a new box of delusion and say, yeah, let's delude ourselves afresh. Let's open up a new level of delusion. So we're now hearing some people speaking to some people saying, all right, you represent the black community. You speak for the black community. What black community? What black culture? Where is it? Oh, some people are going to say, yeah, the carnival, the London carnival is black culture. London carnival is black culture? London carnival is black culture. Wow. Awesome. Oh, fried chicken and rice is black culture. That's culture? Fried chicken and rice? While you're wearing your jeans and your and your Gucci hat. That ain't no black culture. The real black culture, if anything, that's not even going to be on display. Because nobody wants to see that. Real black culture, nobody wants to see that. They want to see, like, what name should I call this one now? They want to see an arrested black culture. Where our culture has been arrested by different people. And we've been told this far we can go. This is what they want us to call black culture, when it's nothing but, it's not our culture. We don't have a culture here. We don't have any culture outside our own culture. The thing we need to do is return to our own culture and then say we have black culture and let other people visit and say, yeah, we visited black culture. We visited a black country, a black nation. Community sounds like a wing in a prison. Yeah. Black community sounds like a wing in a huge prison complex. Come on, family. Black community just sounds like a wing in a huge prison complex. Black community. And inside that black community, i.e. black prison wing complex, we are having a black culture inside a prison complex. We don't have black leaders. We don't have black leaders. You know what a leader is? Or what a leader does? We don't have black leaders, black culture, black community. All that is just like stupid concepts to just take your mind off what you need to do, what you need to see, what you need to be. We don't have nothing. Oh, sorry. We got our skin. We still got our black skin left. That's what we have. We have our black skin left. But we don't have none of those other things. So, I wish I'd been down in the Speaker's Corner a while now. So I wanted to take that up with some of our brothers who think we do have some black culture. What black culture? As far as I know, the only black culture we have is the negative type. The only time we see any culture is when it's just negative. It's just like us, like taking down one another. And a whole lot of proponents of black culture, you don't really see any other black culture we're talking about. Besides it being, it's European culture with black people practicing it. I don't see any centers teaching our languages, teaching our values, teaching our wisdom, teaching our regard for each other. I don't know where the culture is. I don't see our young people respecting the elders. I don't see the men around their families. I don't see fathers out there talking like real men. I don't even see mothers behaving like real mothers, besides just trying to get by. I don't see any culture. And we don't even have the pride of who we are. We don't have the pride of who we are. Besides going as far back as saying we are slaves and we are victims. Well, where's the true culture of us being royalty? Where's the true culture of us holding our heads up high? All the things we do are seriously corrupted by the ways of the Western world that we live in, and we're all victims. And don't think Brother Ty is just like trying to put any individual down. That's not what it is. It's just clear cut, true reflection. I myself included in it. But I don't see anything that's called black culture. I mean, I'm focusing on us because, look, I see the annihilation that's coming our way. I see it being set up. And you just got to wake up. All this thing that people think they're woken up because they can read Google documents and search the Illuminati on YouTube. They think that's being called awake. That's not being awake. Awake is us going back to what we were without the distraction of anybody else. I see people talking all day long about, being black and being African. I'm not seeing them trying to speak any of their languages. How much of your own culture are you when you're not even like proud enough to practice your own culture? I tell you what. There's some black people in this country. Yeah, I probably just name it anyway. I know I always talk about this all the time anyway. I like Somalians. I respect Somalians. I respect Somalians. And somebody can say, yeah, it's because their numbers ain't so big and blah blah blah. I disagree with you. But I like Somalians because and in any case there is a point there, the smaller your number, the more you tend to stick together. The numbers of other Africans, like the West Africans and so on, it's become so huge that they just don't care anymore. They just don't care. And most of us are like inculcated into the Western type mentality. And so are the Somalians anyway right now. So no real slack cut for anyone. But the whole point is, how are we black when the only thing black about us is our skin color? How are we black when the only thing black about us is our skin color? That's the only thing that makes us black. But once you peel the skin away, everything else is white. Everything else is white. Everything else is white. Everything else is just like, how do you think? White. What's your aspirations? White. What's your developmental modes? White. What's your developmental models? White. Outlook? White. What about your own mental faculties? Why isn't that black? All the things that make us different. You see, family, the things that make us different from the white Western world is not on the outside. Alright? The things that make us different from the white Western world is not on the outside. It's on the inside. It's on the within. I hope you heard what I said, because sometimes it's easy for us to miss that point. The things that make us different from the white Western world is not on the outside. They couldn't care less what you look like on the outside. And neither should we. Neither should we care about what people look like on the outside. Skin color, that's got nothing to do with nothing. It is an indicator of something, but you're only justified to use it as an indicator if you can find the thing. I mean, what point is it if you find a white person who behaves like a black person? Can you really think of him as a white person? I know some of you still gonna have some what do you call it now? Some hang-ups on this, but I'm gonna turn it the other way. And the other way talks to us. What point is it when we find a whole heap of black people, but there's nothing black inside us? There's nothing black inside us, family. Come on, talk to me. Come on. It's not in our families. Our women don't have it. Our men don't have it. Husbands don't have it for the wives. Wives don't have it for the husbands. Those who go to church don't have it. Our children don't have it for their parents. Parents don't have it for the children. Our religious movements don't reflect our beliefs of ancient times, our practice of ancient times. Leaving idolatry out of this. Leaving idolatry out of this. But the values that go with being black, they're not there anymore. The values of sacrifice, of selflessness, of sharing, of caring, of justice, of righteousness, of retribution, of fear, of respect. All those things they're not there anymore. Morality, right and wrong, so-called good against evil. None of those things are inside the black people anymore. Cultured language, language that's appealing to hear. All of those things are not inside black people anymore. I mean, like, what makes us black? What is it that makes us black? Oh, what we do have, though, we have education in the white Western world system. And that's replaced the blackness within us. That's replaced the blackness within us. There's nothing black about. Come on, family, paint yourself white. Come on. Some of you go to IKEA or somewhere, get a can of paint. You know, we should have excuse me, how should I put this now? I'm trying to look for a name for it. That's what we do. We just look for a name for something. Yeah, we should have a paint me white day. Black people. Paint me white day. Just to make us to take notice that we've become white. The white is not the skin color. That's nothing. The white is the spirit color, the inner color. Come on. Yeah. Let's type that in. We haven't done a 789 for so long right now. We're gonna type this one in. The inner color. Inner color. Yeah, gonna do an inner color and do a 789. For those of you who still remember, do a 789. A black inner color. Yeah. As opposed to skin color. I hope I got that typing right. Yeah. The black inner color should be much stronger than the skin color. All right, family. The inner color. We don't have it. Come on, I'm waiting for somebody who, like, you know, I'm waiting for a pro-black kind of person right now. I'm waiting for them. You know, I want to talk to my brothers. You know, I'm gonna just put their names out right now so people don't think I'm. Sarah, I want to hear your voice. Brother Kalam. I don't hear your voice. And all the other brothers who are out there, who some of them they don't want their thing out here, but those who already have, come out, tell me, because I hear you saying black community, black this, black that. Where is it? And this is supposed to be the moment of our awakening, right? I mean, I'm seeing that the greatest effort we're putting in as so-called black communities and so on is like when we're going against Islam. That's the only time we're black. And I've always said that's just such an unfair representation. I don't go bashing on people for no reason. But after you're done bashing, or before you even do bashing, why can't we look at ourselves too? I want, the proponents of black this, black that, I want them to come and tell me where it is, how it is. Where is it? Where? I'm postulating that it's nowhere to be found. Nowhere. So we need to get off talking about all the other distractions. We need to get off talking about all the other distractions in terms of like always finding a different type of bogeyman to distract ourselves and our people. Because look, family, you black people out there, the more you stay distracted, the more the world stays distracted. You're supposed to be the light of the world. You're supposed to be the light in the darkness. Even though you're black skin, you're the one with the light. Black people, even though you're black skin, you are the one with the light. John 1. You're the one with the light. So if you don't wake up properly, you're not only not waking up for yourselves, you're not waking up for the world either. The world is counting on you to wake up, black man. The world is counting on you. Some of them don't even understand it. They don't know that. You see, the premature rapture that Obama brought to the world a couple of years ago is what the world is expecting of the black people. The black Messiah. A real black Messiah, not the Mickey Mouse type, not the Hyde and Jekyll type, not the Humpty Dumpty type, but the true type of Messiah, the African type, the black type, the original type, a spiritual type, the moral type, the righteous type, and an army, like an army. Ezekiel 37, a real army, not like finding somebody to punch, but we ourselves looking at within. We ourselves looking within that, that Wakanda spirit. That, what's that movie called again? That Wakanda movie. What's the real title again? Somebody remember? Because the powers that be, they understand that. They know that. They know that. It's all right for people to go off on their own tangents. I'm on this, I'm on that, I'm on this, I'm in this group, I'm in that group, I'm in this thing, I'm in that thing. It's my own faith, it's my own belief, it's my own criticism, it's my own perspective. Thank you, brother. The Black Panther. Thank you, brother Nuru. How do we see a movie like Black Panther and think it's just about skin color? How do we see a movie like Get Out and we think it's only about black color? It's ain't about black color skin. The black color skin is an indicator of what's within. Black color skin, I repeat, is an indicator of what's within. The mother of all powers. But we've misappropriated that, and we don't want to face any reality. So we invent black culture, black community, black power. We invent all these things that don't get us nowhere. And if we really awake, we wouldn't be talking like that. We would be talking a different talk. Before we can do anything, our talk needs to reflect our direction. Our talking needs to reflect our direction, because that's what happens first. Our talk reflects our direction. Our talk directs our mind. Our mind, starts the kind of chat, the kind of speech we want to make, and that leads us where we want to be, where we need to be moving towards. I don't mess about talking. I don't mess about when it's time to let people know exactly what I'm talking about. But some people think, no, I'm talking about we cannot be black unless we live black. We cannot be black unless we live black. And we live black not by just saying skin tone, but we the things that make us different. You see, the things that made the white Western world, the things that made them hate us, is not our skin color. Because when you actually look at it, they love our skin color. The white Western world is absolutely besotted with our skin color. You all know that. You all understand that. Because as soon as the sun comes out, everybody's looking to get one. Our skin color is the greatest haute couture. Is the greatest Gucci you could ever look for. The skin color. So everybody wants one. Everybody wants to get a tan. Everybody wants to get a tan. I know somebody's gonna pun this now. Everybody wants to get a tan. Everybody wants to get black. Bodybuilders, the first thing they do when they want to look right, you look as big as a rhinoceros, but if you don't got that black skin, nobody see it. So everybody wants to get a tan. Beautiful women want to get a tan. Muscular men want to get a tan. Everybody wants it. So there you go, family. But we are proven by observation that our skin color is not what makes the white Western world hate us. So we could give up the skin color and they still won't be happy. They still won't be happy. So they're asking us, no. Keep your skin color. Keep the skin color, but let go of your spirit color. Let go of your spirit color. Let go of your spirit color. What's your spirit color? Let go of that one. If you can let go of your spirit color, we're fine with you. Don't talk to us about your own black aspirations, your black spirituality, your black morality, your black righteousness. Just talk to us about our own things. Talk about the white Western world things. Help us to develop our own way. Sacrifice your inner color for our own inner color. That's what the whole thing is about. And that's what we've done. We've sacrificed the inner color that we have. The real black power is the power within. The real black power is the power within. And we've given that up for nothing. And here we are talking about black community, black culture, black power, when we got none. The black power is the power within. Watch the movie Black Panther. Watch the movie Black Panther. So, they always make sure there's some relevant education for you. After you've gone to school and university and all of those kind of places and it don't benefit you, then they release a 2-hour movie and it teaches you more. It teaches you more. They release a movie called Get Out. It teaches you more. If they're taking you to the psychologist or psychiatrist, you wouldn't get the message. So they make a movie, say, get out. Get out of my people. Come out of my people. So you be not partakers of our sins and our judgments. Come out of her. Come out of my people. They didn't say, stop being black. Come out. Come out. And we don't come out just simply by physically jumping out. But we come out like wherever we are, we have our own way, our own thinking, our own direction that we want to achieve, that we want to do. What is it that we want to do? What are we for? What are we for? Are we to accomplish somebody else's mission? Are we here to accomplish somebody else's mission? Or do we have our own one? Black people, tell me, what's our mission? What's our mission? Look, I'm tying all of this back into the what's the hate speech? What's the free speech? I'm tying all of this back in there. I really am. I'm trying to make you understand that. I know I've gone way off. It looks like, yeah. But I'm still tying it back into the hate speech, free speech. Why? Because the time is fast approaching when we won't be able to talk about what we want and what we don't want anymore. It's going to be called hate speech. They're going to tell us we hate. Any morality is going to become, oh, you hate us. They're going to say we hate them. Everything we say is going to be called hate. Already, many of the Muslim religion, many of the Islamic religion are already calling righteousness. They're already calling it hatred. Say you see Kalam, for example, showing them truth. It's showing them truth from their own scriptures. What they're going to say? They're going to say he hates them. Even though it's in their own books. It's called hate. So that's where we're going, because we as a black people on the face of the earth, we as a brown people on the face of the earth, we are supposed to be the light of the world. So example, all the stuff that Brother Kalam is showing to Muslims, for example, they're not looking at it like objectively. Instead, they call it hate. Why do you hate us? Why do we hate you? So where does that go from here? It means when the time comes for us to get up and we want to start showing the world what's right and what's wrong, even though it's evident already, it sounds like hate. So if you talk to white Western world lovers, and I'm making this clear, not every white person in the white Western world feels like that, but a majority of them do. If you try tell them that so-called Jesus Christ is a black man, it feels like you're hating on them. It feels like you're hating them. Ah, does color have to always come into it? No, we're just trying to correct the error. You already painted him white. You made all the angels white. The hand of God white. We're just trying to correct it from the same scriptures, from the same history, from the same evidence before all of our eyes. Some people say it's hate speech. If you say we're the real Jews of the Bible and the Jewish state set up by the Zionists in 1948 is just a gameplay. The real Jews are here. Otherwise, why the white Jews transport thousands of black Ethiopians and call them Jews if we are wrong? But even though it's evident, and it's evident that the white Jews themselves did it, based on the evidence that we are repeating, and we're not called hate speech, when a black person says it, and with a mind of pain and injustice that's happened on the back of all that misconception and deception, they're gonna tell you that you're a hater, that you're hate speeching, when all you're doing is showing them facts, showing them truth, showing them righteousness. Righteousness is important, family, to show the people of the world. They're gonna call it hate speech. When we get corrected, we don't say they hate us. If it's justified, you don't say they hate us. When we correct them, we are hating on them. And that's why Islam has been pushed to lead the way for the white Western world to implement the curtailing of truth speech. To curtail truth speech, they need somebody to look like the Asian provocateur. We set you up and make people kind of like look like they're hating on you. Then on the basis of that, create some hate speech laws. But then we turn it around and use it against those people over there. Because we understand that those people over there, sooner or later, they're going to start complaining. They're going to start revealing. They're going to start being what they're supposed to be. They're going to start waking up. And they're going to start voicing out. Well, we got to curtail that before it even happens. So, family, what is hate speech? What is free speech? Truth is hate speech. Truth is hate speech. Let me see. That's where I want to leave it right now. Truth is hate speech. I don't know if anyone wants to come on the show. I'm trying to find where do I find this yeah, let me see. How do I get this link now? Oh yeah, give me a second, family. Let me see who wants to come on the link. I can't remember how to start this thing anymore. Let me go here and then yeah, and then create a group hangout video call. Give me a second, family. Let me see if I can put how do we do this stuff? I don't remember how to do this stuff anymore. Give me a second, family. Put Baba Kazan here. Give me a second, family. Here we go again. Secure group. No. Don't know how to do this thing. It's just like Give me a second, family. I'm gonna try invite. I'm gonna try invite people. I don't know how to do this stuff anymore. Where'd you go? Okay. Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm like really far behind with this. So far behind with. Where do we do this here? Boy, boy. Give me a second. Trying to see how to invite people onto the Google Hangout. Somebody else remember this thing? Oh boy. An idea this. New conversation. Right. Oh, get right. Sorry, family. Yeah. Anyway, I'm about reaching the end of this show, but I don't know how to set up the Google Hangout now, and this is giving me a little headache right now. Giving me a headache right now. Hangout. So yeah, any one of you wants to come on the Hangout. I'm trying to set it up. I've forgotten how to do it. I've forgotten how to do it, but if anybody remembers how to do this thing, please do tell me. I can't remember how to do this thing anymore. Set up a new group. A new group. Alright. Brother Kazan saying, yeah, you don't know how to do this stuff anymore. So, but where do we go to call? It's crazy. It's crazy. Excuse me. Okay. Okay. What I've done is. Who was it? Who was it who wanted to come on? Was that sister? Who was that who wanted to come on anyway? Who wanted to come on the chat to say a piece? If you want to come on the chat, just send your email in here. If you already got your email with me, just tell me what the email is. Let me see if I can just post the link for this. Let me see if I can post a link. Copy link to share. And where do I share this link now? Let me see if I can put this link in. I'm gonna see if I can put this link here. All right, okay, there you go. I got it. So anyone who wants to come on the show right now, that's the Google Hangout show, and just call in. Okay. I hope you can see it right there. Right. Okay, that's how I can do this one for now. I'm gonna have to sort it out if I get it wrong, and maybe do it better the next time. So anyone who wants, that's the Google Hangout there, hangouts.google.com. Call, yeah, you can call through if you want now. All right, family. All right. So yeah, I'm waiting. So anyway, I've reached the end of what I wanted to say in terms of, this little gathering right now. Hate speech, free speech, truth is gonna be construed as hate speech and free speech. So if there's anybody who wants to join the chat and wants to call in live, have your mic ready at least, and the link has been posted there. So anyone who wants to come in, I'm gonna post the link again. So just do that. If you got questions you want to ask, or you just want to get something off your mind, or you got other things you want to talk about, like religious stuff and questions about it, you can call in and let people hear you live. And there's the Hangout link again. I hope you take it up and call in now. Otherwise, I'm gonna take it like nobody's interested right now. Yeah. So there you go. If you can see the link, please let me know. Just let me know if you can see the link.
Hi,
I can
everyone.
see it there.
Hi, Uncle. Can you hear me?
So 1 second there now. Do I have somebody there?
Can you hear me, Uncle?
Okay. How are you, sis? You alright? 1 second, yeah? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Um,
I'm fine, but it's a bit of a delay. Let me go get my headphones.
okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Right, okay.
Let me go get my headphones because there's a delay.
Okay, alright. Get your headphones, yeah. Right. Anyone who wants to come on the show, I'm gonna try my best to add the hangout window to the live feed also, like it should be anyway. And if anybody comes on, we'll surely see it. All right, family. So let me see where we are here. How can I choose? It's been a while, so do forgive me. It's been a while since I've been able to like get this done properly. Bit rusty at the moment, so do bear with me. So yeah, anyone who wants to come in, let me know. I think I got Sister Betty up there. Anyone who wants to come in to have a say, let me know. If the audio is not clear, please just let us know. So we're still on the test stages again, just coming back from a 3 month ban, and trying to get back into action in a way to have some talk about things. So anyone who's got time, please come back on the show and ask your questions. Or if you got a point to make, if you think you need a voice to be heard, this is the platform for that. It's just a live open session where you can voice your minds, teach us something you know, share with us information you know about the same issue, add to it from your perspective or from perspectives out there that it's very easy to miss and easy to not include when you're doing a live show like this. Obviously, we don't have all the time in the world to do everything we'd like to do. But yeah, Sister Betty, you there? Right, I hope Sister Betty ain't gone to Tesco's to get a headphone. So anyone else who's out there, I know there's quite a lot of you who's out there, Muslim brothers and sisters. I know you got the most questions for Brother Ty.
Yeah. Hi.
Right.
Sorry. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Sister Betty. Can you hear me?
This is the delay, Uncle.
Right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. How is it now? How is it now? Can you hear me? Wow. Are you still there?
You know what it is? There's a delay.
I don't know where the delay is coming
I can
from.
hear you, but there's a delay when I speak. There's about a 30-second delay.
Are you using any other apps?
30-second delay, Uncle.
All right. Are you using any other apps on your device? Maybe you're using the device microphone in two different apps. I don't know. Sometimes these things happen. I'm a little bit rusty at the moment. Was there a delay on the live feed? I know there's a
I'm
delay.
just
Yeah. Go on. Look at
okay.
here.
A delay on the live feed. The only thing I'm just using a single microphone. What
And
I could do is I'll switch to my webcam and see if that makes a difference.
right. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. So we're waiting for Sister Betty there. I don't know if we got somebody else joined us yet. Who else do we have there?
Like, can you hear me? Let's see if it's going to.
Yeah, I can hear you now. How about me? You hear me? And you hear me, sister? I'm not sure if the connection.
Yeah, I can hear you, but there's still like a 30-second delay.
Definitely, absolutely. I don't know how to fix
Like
this. I'm not sure if there's something.
30-second delay.
Right, yeah.
It's like calling Nigeria.
Oh, it's not even this bad, is it? Calling Nigeria like unless you're calling areas controlled by Boko Haram or something, you know. They like to listen in first before. I don't know if there's anything else I can do. I've got just the yeah, yeah. I've got just right.
There's normally a delay.
Yeah. So I don't know what to do here. Maybe I should cancel and
Sorry,
then.
Uncle. You know what, Uncle? What I'll do is I'll try and go into a different browser and see if it makes a difference.
Okay. All right. Myself, I've closed the two windows, and I have no understanding of how this thing. Okay, you are in this video call, right? Okay, who else have I got there? Have I got? I see Isaac. Is that brother Isaac? Are you there? Is brother Isaac? Is he there? Or did I see brother Isaac there? Or yeah, I don't know who. Who else do I see there? I don't know what's going on, but I hope this is not from my end. Is there something I can do to fix it? I don't know. So who else is there? Anyone? Right. Anyone out there yet?
Yeah.
Right. How is it now?
I think it's just. Can you hear me? I think it's just a delay.
Yeah. How about
Might
now?
be a delay.
Okay. How about now? All right. I think there's a brother
It's
online.
still a delay.
All right. Let me see. There's a brother online there. Can you try and speak to me, brother? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, sister. I can hear you. Right, brother. Can you hear me? Can you hear me here? Yeah, brother. If you're there, unmute your mic. Yeah, unmute your mic so you can. I can hear you. Or yeah. I think your mic is not. I think your mic is not. Or is it? I don't know. I hope it's not my system doing what it's doing. I don't hear. Okay. Well, I'm gonna. Let me see. I have no idea what could be going on. I know I've got a couple of windows open. Let me see. Okay.
You know what you could do? You know
Yeah.
when you go to the live stream
Right.
You can check to see if there's a 30-minute delay.
It looks like there is a little bit of a delay on the live stream, but that is normal. That is just normal. Only thing is, I can't tell why. Let me see. Let me see what happens with this call here. Let me see what happens with this call here.
Because
Shall
like on the live stream video, on the live stream,
Hey,
you can
bro.
put a 30-minute delay. I mean, a 30-second delay or a 90-second delay.
Okay. All right. Just hold on for me. Let me see what's happening. Somebody's just called in on a different window here. Shalom. Who's that? It looks like a serious delay here. I'm getting nothing here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, brother? Who's just called in? I think. Or we
Hey,
evolve?
bro.
Yeah. Shalom to you. Can you hear me? I think the delay is going on for everyone here. I have no idea why.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Right. Right. Keep speaking for me, brother. Let me
Yeah,
see.
nah, there's a big delay.
All right. Okay. So it's happening.
Yeah.
It's happening on every window here. Let me see. I haven't changed anything here. So let me see. I hope it's not to do with I hope it's not to do with the.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll just speak. So, my mother is Scottish. My
Right.
father is Maori, indigenous to New Zealand.
Right.
When I bring up the injustices that the Scottish have done to the Maori, she says that I hate, and it's hard for me to understand why people do that.
Right. Why people do what?
Yeah, no, it's a big delay. It's out of it, but
Right.
I just want to say big up Ty, all the way from New Zealand. I
Right.
love to hear you talk, brother. Keep it
Right.
real. Yeah.
Right. Sorry about this delay. I'm trying to close a few windows here. Maybe that could be the problem. I'm not sure. Let me see if I'll get a chance to, because that certainly sometimes takes up the bandwidth. Um, but let me just give me a couple of seconds, see what happens. Um, I've got a lot of windows open, and I hope I can get them back actually. Um, so let's see how this works out now. Okay, I'm gonna close this one here. I got, boy. Yeah, I don't know. If the delay continues, we'll have to just stop the call and maybe restart it. And if it doesn't improve, then, sister, are you still there? Right. Yeah. The delay is really. Yeah. The delay is really. I think it's really making a thing. Let me see. Someone suggested to cut the background.
Yes, I'm still here.
All right.
Uncle.
Okay. Let me see what happens here. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Can you hear me, sis? Can you hear me? All right. Delay is really horrible right now.
I can hear you. Yeah, so, yes, Uncle, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. Carry on speaking then. Wow, it still looks like the delay is strong. Can you hear me? Wow. Hang out.
Yeah, so to talk about hate speech and, currently right now,
Right.
yeah, it's still a strong delay. But I'm in a different. Yeah, I can hear you, but I'm in a different browser now, and it's still getting a delay.
Right. I don't know if there's anything else I can do here. The stream looks
I can't.
healthy. Yeah. Yeah. Speak on.
It's kind of difficult to talk because as I'm hearing myself on a delay.
Right. Okay.
But I just wanted to say currently right now in terms of hate speech, and we know there's a lot of draconian measures being done via the government and stuff like that. And I think it's more like 1984, if anyone's read 1984 by George Orwell, when they talk about police state and thought crime and pre-crime, that you can be prosecuted for a crime and you haven't even committed it yet. So I think it's a really good topic to talk about.
Right. Absolutely. George Orwell, 1984. Yeah. Me myself, I never bothered to read the book because it's something we can evidently see happening in front of us. 1984. Yeah. But here we are in 2018, and everything spoken of back then seems to be coming to pass rapidly around the world right now, especially in the so-called Western white world, where the control mechanism, in fact, going back into the Cold War era, there were many countries that were also like prohibited from speaking out their minds. Russia, China, communist countries, Cuba, and so on and so forth. Even American so-called people in Western democratic systems, people were still being stopped from speaking out their minds, or risk being labeled different kind of names like communist and so on and so forth, or Negro lovers or stuff like that, or Jew lovers, or stuff like. So it's basically like a foreshadow back then is now rearing its ugly head back into the future now, and still trying to make people afraid of just talking to each other or trying to sort out real problems. So yeah, what's your view? Who do you think is behind this control mechanism called hate speech? If you can still hear me, Sister Betty.
Uncle, the people who I think are behind the control and hate speech, I think all human beings play a role in society, for one, and we all have to take responsibility for the world that we've created. But I think there's a selected few very powerful families, banking families, international companies, or that control things. I think they call them is it multilateral, multinational? Yeah, it's multinational companies. And these very old families that have had power over hundreds of years. So that's who I think's behind it. Those people benefit from taking power away from the masses. I think it's built like a pyramid and stuff like that. They want to maintain their power. I have heard people who, families like, the Rothschilds, those type of families. The royal family of England, people like that.
Right. Do you know anyone who's been sort of banned from like social media for hate speech?
I think Big Bro got banned from Twitter for hate speech, from what I remember. He doesn't have a Twitter account. And then obviously you got Tommy Robinson. I'm sure he get thrown off Twitter.
Right. Anybody that you know personally? Yeah, it's 20 seconds.
Oh, I don't know anyone personally that's been banned from social media.
Right. Okay. Is there anyone out there who has like personal experiences? That must mean that nobody's talking anymore. Cause Tommy Robinson, Big Bro, me, I haven't been on Facebook and all them kind of ones speaking or doing anything much. But YouTube banned me for 3 months for hate speech when I wasn't even talking. I wasn't even talking to anyone. I was just reporting what happened. So I'm like, and I asked them, what have I done? Where is the hate speech? It's just like gone.
Oh, actually,
yeah.
Well, I've got banned as well. I've got banned too. I've had about 6 months bans on YouTube.
Wow. What did you do? I hope it's not beef online. Yeah, what did you do?
The first ban I got from YouTube was playing BB King. I was playing BB King, The Thrill Is Gone, and because it was copyrighted, they banned me. I was streaming it on my channel because I love BB King, The Thrill Is Gone.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Well, yeah. That's a different. That's a different thing. Yeah. Yeah, but funny. Yeah. Right. Yeah. This little thing that's stopping the conversation.
And I think the other one is I got banned for complaining about other people cyberbullying me. So, and they banned me for that, for reporting the truth.
Right. Wow.
You're not allowed.
Yeah, speak on, yeah. Right. I know enable live chat. Live chat's enable. I don't know if there's anything else here. Oh, I hope it's.
Well, basically, you're not allowed to talk the truth. So, if you're having a debate with somebody or you're arguing with someone and you start complaining, they ban you. That's what YouTube does. It doesn't investigate things properly.
Right. I see. Interesting. Yeah, so I mean basically we got problems because we don't know if it's computers just banning people.
I think YouTube is also slanted towards white people, because what you'll find is you'll find a lot of racist content on YouTube, but when it comes to black people, they're quick to ban them. But when it comes to white people can write all types of racist stuff about black people and stuff like that. That's the only thing. They don't investigate things properly. And there's a lot of black YouTubers complaining about the fact that they're getting banned, but white people can say all types of racist stuff about black people being violent, black people, all types of stuff, disgusting stuff about black people, but those white people's channels are always up.
Right. How about anti-Islamic content? Like, cause what got me banned was Islamic hate speech.
In terms of anti-Islamic content, yeah, those are always up as well. Anti-Islamic content.
How about
Islamic hate speech.
Christian hate
It's
speech?
kind of difficult because it's this is what I've noticed with YouTube. YouTube does not investigate, no doubt about it. It's slanted towards white people. White people can say whatever they want to say. If you're a person of colour and you say something, then they're going to try and shut you down.
Right. It's sad. It's sad. So do you think this is like is this like a trajectory that should cause concern really? I mean, because they know its trajectory should cause concern. Where.
Yeah, of course. If you're in a society where you're being censored, of course it's going to cause a lot of problems because you're not in a free society. This is what the book 1984 talks about. You're being censored. You're not free. And if you look at World War One and World War Two, this is what led up to World War One and World War Two. You'll see a lot of censorship that was happening. Certain groups were being demonized as being the problem, and then before you know it, World War One and Two broke out.
Yeah. I watched a movie a couple of months ago or something, and in the movie, it's like social media was playing devil's advocate, whereby people you know or people you don't know would give you likes or dislikes, and that meant you could either have a comfortable existence or not based on the likes or dislikes that people gave you on social media. So if people, and that would be done kind of like automatically. Say you went past someone and they just didn't like you, they would automatically know who you were based on the on your phone settings, and they could rate you at that particular point, give you a like or a dislike, and that could affect the points that you're going to accumulate, that's going to maybe allow you to live properly. So my point is, and the thing was so real, it was happening it was basically happening among white people in the movie. And even white people in their own families were now starting to feel the pain, because you could have a friend who wasn't popular on social media or nobody liked, or who had controversial views or something, and somebody just gives them a dislike, that affects their life instantly. So where we're heading now, like George Orwell is painting out for us, is also where the book of Revelation and the Bible also like tells us that things are going to head, when no man shall be able to buy or sell unless they took the mark of the beast. Some people don't like the religious narrative, but I see the whole thing going directly there and very quickly. You have any thoughts on that? Yeah. Someone said Revelation 12.
I do have any thoughts. Very much like they say. It's very true. The fact of the matter is, people want to be led. They want to be controlled, because ultimately, if you don't want to be controlled, then you wouldn't stand up and do it. So many people allow themselves to be controlled. We have to take personal responsibility. A lot of people want to have leaders. If you didn't want to have leaders, you wouldn't do it.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. People want to be led. People don't want to take responsibility for their own destinations, if you like. and that's the human condition, I guess. The only problem is when those who are leading us turn out to be tyrants. That's when humanity has problems. Right now, we are agreeing with the tyrants, or the tyranny, I should even say, because it's really hard to point out who the tyrants are. Because most of these people in positions of making decisions based on who can say what on social media, they look just like everybody else. And seriously speaking, the power doesn't really lie in their hands because they're just being used as puppets themselves. I mean, young boys like David Zuckerman, he surely can't know more than Bill Gates. He surely can't have more understanding of the system that he's born into than those who actually started the whole system. So those people are just put there as figureheads and handsome page holders so that we, the masses, can relate to them. You know, everybody can relate to a handsome young man like David Zuckerberg being a founder of a system that we young people are supposed to buy into without raising any spiritual alarms in our minds. Because obviously, if we could see the face of one of these old monsters putting his face as the founder of Facebook or one of these platforms that we think will turn out to be something wrong, people will start, thinking twice. But when we see these young people being the front men, front women for our social media platforms, which will become indispensable to our existence right now, it's going to be really hard for people to get away from them, to let go. And now, what's even worse is social media platforms are becoming business platforms for maybe half of the people on social media right now are now seeing the power and the leverage that social media platforms can actually make happen for them. And once we're hooked into that monetary system on a social platform, and that monetary system becomes a viable means for us to conduct and achieve certain business aims, it's going to be impossible for people not to comply with these laws. It's going to be impossible for people not to comply with tyranny when their bread and butter is on the line. What do you say? What do you say? What do you say? What do you say? Yeah, this delay is just so.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you, Uncle. You know what they said? There's a man called Thomas Sankara. He was
Yeah,
a revolutionary leader of Burkina Faso.
exactly.
And he said, the person who feeds you controls you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. The person who feeds you makes the rules. Yeah. Exactly. And like I was trying to say also is like, I think Africa is at the bottom of.
And I think also as well, one of the things, he only lasted 3 years before his second in command put a bullet in his head.
Yeah,
But you can call for freedom, but make sure you're ready for freedom.
exactly. Yeah. They started the purge of radicals and revolutionaries a long time ago. These were the kind of people they didn't want to be leaders of our nations or leaders of any nation on the earth for that matter. Because I know we can count off our two hands similar evolving revolutionary leaders who were coming up and would have changed the landscape that we have today. but they weren't given a chance. And it all makes sense. It all makes sense now for us to understand why these kinds of people weren't given a chance. Be they religious people, be they Mother Teresa, be they Nelson Mandela, be they even Benazir Bhutto, be they Malcolm X or Martin Luther King or Winnie Mandela or Fela Kuti or Bob Marley or John Lennon. The list goes on and on and on and on. And up to modern day, people have just been silenced left, right, and center all across the globe for one reason or the other. Leaders of nations have been taken out by other nations who have no business being there. And now, the what's it called? The thing has come home to roost. The chickens come home to roost, and people who are in the Western world, who are outspoken and have different views and revolutionary views or alternative views on the world scene, are being shut down. People like Tommy Robinson, if he's actually properly a real person rather than a game provocateur. You have Alex Jones out there, and surely you have little tiny people like myself who are just trying to talk our own business in terms of like our own surroundings, and people being shut down left, right, and center. And I watched a video by one white brother from the States, and he had a list which he put on his video of all the people that have been shut off of social media, and they're supposed to be like people with a sizable following on social media, and they're playing the left against the right, Republicans against the Democrats. But I don't get involved in all these names because it's just an endless hole to go down into. But the reality is for me is on the surface of the water here. What we're seeing happening, we know that the thing runs deep, but what we see happening is enough evidence to tell us that we should be alarmed, we should be scared. If they're extending hate speech, hate speech punishment to being able to ban someone off social media, where is going to be next? The airport, a restaurant, who knows, TV, or just even carrying a phone. Where's going to be next? Where's going to be next? I'll let you speak, sister, if you're still there.
Yeah, I'm still there. Exactly, where does it go next? But I think I always have to go back to personal responsibility, and that we have to understand that we are humanity. There was a wise man called John Lennon, and he always said that the war is over if you want it, but many of us don't want the war to be over. There's a huge industry in selling arms and weapons and seeing people killed around the world. So when people are ready to stop fighting and making money from war, that's when you're going to stop seeing it. But many of us still enjoy seeing blood spilt, as long as it's not our family's blood, as long as it's someone else's blood, then we will support it and stuff like that. But like Michael Jackson's song says, it says, if you want to change the world, you start with the man in the mirror. So I always say to Africans and stuff like that in terms of Africa, as a person of African descent, understand that the damage that was done to Africa was done over hundreds of years. So the changes that need to happen to Africa will not happen in your lifetime. It's your children and their children that will carry on the fight. But when you fight and you stand up for humanity, wherever you are in the world, whether you're Asian or European, understand that it is a long, it's a marathon. It's not a short sprint. the changes that need to happen in humanity, you will be dead before you even see it. But what you do to lay the foundation for your children and their children. So just be prepared. Don't get fatigued. If you're not ready to fight, then sit down.
Yeah, well said. If they're not ready to fight, sit down. I don't think there's anyone who can fight anymore. Because, in all honesty, there's nothing to fight anymore. I'll be honest with you. Why do I say that? There was a time back in the pre-industrial era when people could have fought, or pre-globalization, where maybe people just had a chance. And it's not too far behind us. Say take the 50s and 60s, times of independence by different nations. Those were the trying times for the powers today. Those would have those periods pretty much dictated what we have today. So up to the 70s, maybe 80s, was the cutoff mark for humanity to take its freedom back. Right now, we've moved into the digital era, and the digital era has now tied in every facet of our lives so that the fight is not physical anymore. They've pretty much set in place computers that can just listen to their voice chat. I mean, when I say listen, I'm saying the leaders can talk to the computers by voice chat to get what they want to happen. That's how advanced the technologies become. So that they've put measures in place that's taking the power out of our physical will anymore. I mean, our jobs, our training, our education, our money, our businesses, our travel, our health, our reports, everything's now digitalized. It's like, it's like everything's centralized. Everything's centralized and globalized in such digital fashion that like we used to have those cars where you could have a car and be able to put your hands under the hood into the engine area and start fixing the car. You start fixing things, do it yourself. And then computerized cars came along, computerized engines, computerized engine systems came along, and it became impossible for anybody to do anything unless you were well trained and you knew what you was doing under the hood. Then you took the car somewhere where they plugged it into a computer to do computer readings. Now, cars like that are now more electronic than mechanical. And people can't deal with the electronics because we're not skilled with it. Now they've taken all those powers of decision and executives and put it into the digital realm. And people won't be able to access those things anymore. So, we can get rid of the physical American paper dollar, but the digital dollar will never disappear. So, we're coming up with all these cryptocurrencies and so on and so. And they're letting this cryptocurrency business flourish, probably for a reason, because it also paves the way for us to start believing that we can trade without the physical cash. I mean, they've fashioned it in such a way that we see the merits. Those of us who may even have like alternative ways to bank or spend money or transfer money or buy or sell, they fashioned the cryptocurrency, what do you call it, lifestyle in such a way that we like it and we believe we have some autonomy with it. We have some freedom with it. We have some say in it. So they've allowed that. So that encourages, let's go digital, let's go digital. But as soon as there's a sizable number or a sizable amount of resources invested in it by the masses, then the clamp is going to come around our necks anyway. Now, with that said, where do people in the third world countries, where will they ever be able to come in? When the whole of Nigeria, for example, is still struggling with permanent electricity or regular solid electricity supply. Where would they even start to say they want to put money on a digital realm when they know that, boy, you put your money on a digital platform, you be in trouble if your phone don't work. You be in trouble if there's no electricity to run it. You be in trouble if the servers in your country ain't even equipped. You be in trouble if the satellites from space ain't even stop talking to us. So what I'm saying is, third world countries, black and brown people of the earth, poor people across the world are in dire danger. Our governments, our so-called leaders, elected leaders and so on. This is the time to step in before it gets worse, because it all starts with hate speech. Soon it's going to be your hate speech made us pass laws to say you won't be able to buy yourself tomorrow. You won't even be able to feed your family based on those little things. And I'm guessing there ain't going to be nobody really complaining too much. Anybody there who's still there? Is a brother online? Is there a brother just next there? Can you hear us, brother? I see a Dr. Sebi picture right there. Who's that? Who's that there? Anybody? Yeah, it's a shame with the.
He said he's having trouble with his mic.
All right. Okay.
He's having trouble with his mic, Uncle.
Right.
He's having trouble with his mic. But what I would say in terms of relation to Nigeria's, let me say in terms of Nigeria's power supply. Right now, currently, there are changes happening in Africa. Morocco is building one of the biggest solar panel farms that is being built in the Sahara. And it is going to generate electric to supply 650,000 people. So there's a big investment in, solar energy in Africa. Look, we need to understand that the plans are already being laid in Africa right now. If you want to know about in terms of the plans, in terms of infrastructure plans, electrical plans for Africa, you need to go to the African Union's website and look at Agenda. I think it's Agenda 2063. These things are already being laid. There's going to be a road that will be built from Algiers to Lagos, Nigeria. There's going to be one going from Senegal, Dakar.
Hello.
So all these plans are already being laid. It just takes people.
Hello. Can you hear me?
It doesn't help the people right now, but these things take time. What you see that was built in Europe took hundreds of years. It wasn't built overnight. So we just need to remember that. But they are plans to create electric for Nigeria and stuff like that, and other places in Africa. Just type in Morocco solar panel and you'll see it.
Well, okay. Let me just say, the brother who's trying to call in, we're experiencing some delay in the communication there. So I did hear you, but I'm gonna give you a 20-second delay to speak to us. So you've got 20 seconds to start speaking to us, brother, if you can hear me. Okay, can the brother hear us? Right, I don't know if the brother can hear me at the moment. Well, I don't know. We might have to wrap up in a few minutes. I have to wrap up in a few minutes. I'm more just unhappy because of this delay. It's making it hard to enjoy the conversation. So anyway, we've been at this 3 hours. I don't think it's even much beneficial to go on for much longer. Puts people off from watching it. So, all right, Sister Betty, thank you for your input. Yeah, somebody says restart the whole live session. I think we'll just be calling it a night. Because we will be stopping.
You're welcome, Uncle.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. Thank you very much. Okay, and see during the week, I think, because I'm not sure how people are hearing, how they're hearing the message either. Yeah, family, thank you very much. We just wanted to raise that issue one more time. What is hate speech? What is free speech? Maybe we're going to build upon it again, enlarge upon it maybe as the week goes by. Because if YouTube and other social media platforms are penalizing people for these kind of things, I think it's only fair that they let us know what we can say and what we
Yeah,
cannot
I think we should
say.
do it again, Uncle, and do another session.
Right.
And we could discuss it again because it's very important.
Yeah.
This topic.
Yeah, and also, you know, maybe they could start telling us what we can say and what we cannot say. Because it's very ambiguous right now. That it looks like a one-sided fight, really. So, shalom to all of you. Thank you, Sister Betty. Thank you very much. Say shalom to all your families. Peace and life to all your families. I say EA to all of you. EA just means life and life eternal in the Hebrew.
Thank you, Uncle. Shalom to everybody, and God bless.
Right, exactly. Life to all of you, family. Life eternal to you all. Yeah. So thanks to Sister Betty. Yeah. So thank you, family. This is it. We're calling it a day, a morning, a night, wherever you are. Shalom to all of you online. Thanks for coming in. I won't be able to roll call today. I get tired easily these days. Otherwise, I'll roll call. But shalom to all of you, family. Those of you who have been on it from the first minute to the very last minute. Those of you who dropped off to go and do other things. Blessings to all of you. Blessings to all your family. I honestly, seriously love you all and respect you. I hope we can continue with our dialogue and inspection of ourselves and try to do the utmost right for each other and ourselves, our society, and ultimately the humankind. So with that said, thank you very much, Shalom, for coming in. Let's make a date, hopefully in a few days' time, you're willing. And thank you very much. Blessed morning to you, blessed evening, blessed night to you all from all over the world. Thank you very much. Shalom, shalom, shalom.